Well, hello and welcome. Welcome to the Centennial Village once again. I hope you're having a good time. And I want to thank y'all for patronizing the Musicians Reunion over the years. We are just musicians, your local musicians. The idea behind it all was simply to bring the musicians together, to be able to socialize with one another, get to know one another a little better, but also to get to know you. You know, you're our fans and you're our base. You've always been our base. And we've played for your high school proms, and we've played for, you know, your anniversaries and your wedding dates, and we played for all kinds of barn dances and public dances and fairs and county fairs and state fairs. You have a lot of musicians up here that are members of the South Dakota Musicians Hall of Fame and other halls of fame, believe it or not. I'm here just to thank you for coming.
In 1995, local musician and future South Dakota Music Hall of Fame inductee Hank Bowker set aside 2 nights during the Brown County Fair in Aberdeen, South Dakota, to just have some fun on stage with his fellow musicians.
His drummer wasn't there, and after a few minutes, you know, I asked him again, and then I told him, "Well, Hank, I can play." I sat in, and ever since.
Calling around to people to gather area musicians to come and join in the fun.
And I was at the airport, and Frank Schwann, who I used to play with in the band, with Bill Schott and Bonnie Schott, was in the airport picking up his daughter. And then he told me about the reunion. I think they had 1 year and had a good turnout. So I said, I'll come out and jam. This is an open mic musicians reunion. Sounded like I had a chance to see a lot of people I played with in the 60s and in the 70s. So ever since then, I've come every year.
Hank and his rotating gang of cohorts would light up the night over Little Centennial Village year after year. While the Centennial scene was usually eclipsed by the headliners at the main stage, after the last seat was cleared from the grandstands, everyone knew Centennial Village was where it was at. And the music that put smiles on so many faces through the years came from these unpaid heroes of the night. 12 hours of music over 2 nights, from polka to country, rock and roll to bluegrass and folk, and of course, the blues. My father, Dan Zerr, took me with him the first year he went in 1997. At the spotted age of 12, I was hooked on this scene, eventually getting good enough at the guitar to be able to hold my own on stage with my father, 2 of my uncles, and many more legends of the stage in the northeast South Dakota area. 16 years of this. Hundreds of songs played, thousands entertained, dozens of old friends and family getting together to put on the best show possible, all with myself in tow, emulating every note and always waiting each year for the Centennial Village magic to come alive once again. And then, it was gone. In 2012, it was announced that the people who succeeded Hank in putting on the event had bowed out. Being a big undertaking, they decided to not go on with the show. The musicians' reunion was dead.
When that happened, there was no cohesion to hold it together, and it was sad that it just kind of dissolved, rather than somebody saying, well, you know, this is the last time we're going to do it.
2 years passed. A well-paid cover band took the stage each year, dishing out what they did, but to those generations of musicians, as well as myself and many others, it just wasn't the same.
There's a loss of communication about how important this musicians reunion was, and so 1 year it kind of didn't happen. Some other younger bands took it over, and we showed up, and the stage wasn't ours anymore.
And after visiting Centennial on what would be the musicians' reunion Friday and Saturday of the fair 2013, getting a taste of the cover band, I got a tear in my eye because nobody was ever able to say a proper goodbye to this wonderful thing that we did. These guys and gals were a family. They were my family. And I knew I had to make this happen at least once more. I needed to tell the story and let the musicians bid the people one final goodnight. In the early summer of 2014, I made phone call after phone call. I ended up getting in contact with the head of Centennial Village, Mark Zerr. He informed me that there was no way he could replace the band that was already booked for Friday and Saturday. So I asked, what about Thursday? He checked the schedule and said, sure. The musicians' reunion was back on. Getting in touch with everybody proved entertaining.
Anyway,
I was met with one excited musician after another. Everyone amped up and ready to help out any way they could.
And welcome to In Touch. Joining us this morning via telephone, Tony Zerr, down in Redfield, here to talk about the upcoming musicians reunion at the Centennial Village, which will take place during the Brown County Fair, which is already next week.
I ended up putting on 3 consecutive reunions from 2014 to 2016. Seeing the guys and gals up there in the beautiful South Dakota evenings doing what they did, I felt that feeling again. We even had local young talent come up and showcase their art, just as I did years before. And it pleasantly shook me, seeing this other family of mine say their goodbye. The highlight of my trilogy, as I called it, was seeing 4/5 of a band that I grew up with, the Tunes, my dad's band from the late 80s to the early 90s, reunite after 25 years. While Camille Fisher was not available to perform, Boyce Wallin, John Roden, Danny Cornelius, and my dad, Dan Zerr, took the stage one more time. Then they invited me on stage for a song. I'd played with my dad hundreds of times before that, but this was very special to me.
It's the morning of the 18th. The musicians' reunion, Centennial Village, is today, the last one. I don't quite know how to feel about it.
The evening of the 19th annual musicians reunion was to be my last hosting the event, as it was getting tougher to bring these guys and gals together year after year. It was a magical night for me as well as everyone else. I was sad to see it go, but just like the local papers read, until next time. They played and I felt. "2017 saw the 20th and now final musicians reunion. Scott Grote came back to put on one final hurrah for the musicians and the fans as well. The music played one last time from these local heroes, and we were all able to say, sing, strum, or tap out our last farewells to the wonderful fans we had over the years and the magic that brought all of us together in this little village in our little corner of heaven. Thank you guys, musicians and fans, and thank Hank."
Thanks, Hank. Thanks for putting it together in first place.
Talented musician, great person. I think I'm lucky to call him a friend.
I'm very grateful to Hank Bowker for his contribution to running the stage and contacting musicians, sending out emails, sending out letters, getting all the old people together.
I think this was the core, getting back together, especially if Hank could come back. I heard he might be back.
And thanks for all the work that you put into it. And thanks for being one of the pioneers in rock and roll and contemporary music in the Aberdeen area.
But yeah, that Hank was definitely, without Hank it probably wouldn't have happened.
Just to hear him sing again, it's the fair.
Right.
It's part of the fair.